welcome to Work Matters Podcast. I am Dr. Chakira, and this is where we talk all things careers, startups, and entrepreneurship. Today we are interviewing the amazing Jeff Lindor, CEO of the Gentleman's Factory and Groom Success. Do I have that right, Jeff? Okay, awesome. So today we're going to just be talking a little bit about entrepreneurship, and can you tell everyone how you got started and what your company does?
Well, thank you so much for having me on the Work Matters podcast. I'm super excited to be a part of this amazing community, all of the great people that you had previously. So I'm honored to share this space with you. Entrepreneurship is a beautiful thing. When you have an idea and it's producing substance out into the world. So I was always passionate about, young people and working class professionals. Mm-hmm. And my company, Groom Success, focuses a lot on youth development, and we contract with different city agencies throughout New York City and throughout the New York tri-state area. Mm-hmm. And Gentleman's Factory is really, what I spend the bulk of my time on, where it's a community of professionals, right? Looking to build and, enhance and be a part of the new economy. So,
So does that include Black professional men and women, or is it just men?
Well, it's primarily men, but now we have an incubator where we have men and women businesses, and women are killing the game. I'm super proud of all of the great work that they're doing, and we look to see how we could be a valuable resource to help them grow and scale their businesses.
Awesome. So let's back up, because a lot of people don't know our history. We actually worked together for a city agency here in New York City. And I can tell all of you, Jeff has always been passionate about what he's doing right now. And I remember you kind of doing it ugly, like starting from scratch. Every other day you'd be at my desk with like a new idea. And I mean, one thing I remember about you that is really kind of burned into my mind is that you always take ridiculous action. Like whatever you said you were gonna do, it'd be the next day, and it'd be like it happened, and I'd be like, but you just had like a little cell phone and a little thing, and now it's like a full website. And I'm like, wait, when did this happen? So tell everybody a little bit about your process, crossing over from being a full-time employee to being an entrepreneur.
Yeah. I mean, that's so funny. Implementation is everything. I mean, a lot of people have really great ideas, but it's about the execution of it, right? Mm-hmm. And yeah, I remember I started out just doing events. Right? I was like, we're Black men. Like, we're not talking to each other. We're not connecting. And also, it's like, where do the professionals go? Because the higher you go in your career or in your business, you realize that you become isolated, right? So it's like, how do I just bring people together? Mm-hmm. And I would host these different events, these different mixers. And what happens when you're formalizing a business or even an idea, you have to start. But when you start, the market helps you to understand what problem you're solving, right? Mm-hmm. So as I'm having all of these different events, then I'm like, okay, cool. Like, what are people saying? What do they need? What are the surveys saying? And they're like, I feel so isolated at work. Or I feel, where do I go to, get a new job? Or where do I go to raise capital for my business? Or where do I go to just meet people? So business is all about solving a problem. Mm-hmm. And the problem that we were solving initially is the isolation problem. Mm-hmm. But once you then now go deeper into that, then you see, okay, there's isolation, but we also need resources. And that's why I called it the Gentleman's Factory, mm-hmm. because we're this community of thrivers who are looking to get to the next level, and we're looking to do it collectively. So, mm-hmm. So just that whole story of just starting out from events and just grinding, sleepless nights till this day sometimes, right? You know what I'm saying? Right. But it's a beautiful journey, and it's a beautiful story.
So, I mean, there is another side to entrepreneurship, though. And I think before we jump into that, I kind of want to talk a little bit about just making that leap because it took faith. Like,
Yep.
it's scary.
Yep.
Can tell us a little bit about what that was like for you? Because like it was like, okay, like my last check is on this day.
Yep.
Like no more like diet, no more dental, no more health insurance.
Absolutely. Well, so I think that like in order for someone to take that jump, it's faith, right?
Yeah.
And it's also knowing your value, right? So I always tell people that you need to have two things, right? Like, you need to have more than two things, but it's good to have these two key things. When you're in a position at a job that you just may not feel comfortable with, right? Like, you need to have like exit money or exit options, right? So it's like once you know your value somewhere, then you can say, okay, you know what, I want to start a business, or I want to go into a place where I feel as though I'm thriving, right? And in that, September 30th of 2016,
you remember the date?
Of course. So I hit my 5-year cliff not too long ago.
Oh, man, congratulations.
Thank you. And, honestly, throughout that whole time, I never went and double thought, wow, like I shouldn't have done this. And I never thought that. And there were times where, oh man, I didn't have nothing, right? But I never thought that because, like I'm living in my purpose, right? You know, and I don't see Gentleman's Factory, like money isn't my, ambition. And we're doing pretty well now, thankfully, because of the consistency, And if money was my main option, then I would have left a long time ago. Like during COVID, I was getting job offers paying, salaries $300,000, $400,000 a year. And I'm telling them no, right? And I'm blessed to be in a position to even get these opportunities. But I think it's just more so of the fact that you live in your purpose and you understand the problem that you're solving, and that's really what entrepreneurship is.
Yeah, I think that's big. I think often, just the courage, but you said something that was key about when you actually make the transition is the consistency. And I think that that is a part of the building blocks that help entrepreneurs be successful, is to just be consistent, because there's ebbs and flows in everything, right? And so if you're consistent, eventually, and if you're answering and solving a problem, you will make money, and not just make money, you'll actually make a difference in the work that you're trying to do. So thank you for that. So I think there are some other deeper questions like, okay, so you make the transition, you're swimming, you're kind of making it happen, right? Because it's not all glory. I mean, there are times where, we follow you on social media and we see you up at like 3:00 in the morning. It's like, what is Jeff doing? You like just left a meeting, you're typing, like, tell us a little bit about the other side of entrepreneurship, because people kind of see the glory, but they don't really know the grind.
Oh my God. Like it's consistency, right? Like you have to be consistent. And like, people see like, the press articles and, the New York Times and CNN and all of those fancy, publications. And I'm like, how do you think we got there? Like, are we just dwindling our fingers? And then the New York Times says, oh, sir, who's dwindling your fingers? What are you doing, right? No, like, it takes the grind and the consistency. And, like, there's some days where I'm just tired. I'm tired. I am exhausted. And I still keep going, but I now have a good balance, like a mental health balance now. But in the early stages, oh my God, I was going 1,000,000,000,000 miles per hour, running out of fuel, but I was still pushing the gas. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, I think that, the holistic approach of entrepreneurship needs to be told, because people see the, glory and they don't see the story. And, whether that's entrepreneurship, whether that's in like anywhere, right? Like if you ever hear someone say on social media or in a conversation, oh, all you gotta do is these 3 steps. And it's like, really? That's it? That's it? it's just those three things, and I'm like ultra successful. That's a scam.
Right,
You know
right,
what I'm saying?
right.
It ain't no just 3 steps, right?
It's
No.
suspicious.
Right? Yeah, like, you gotta really monitor that. But yeah, I mean, so like, I think everyone has a different blueprint, but but what I would say though is the consistency and the implementation. Because everybody has great ideas, but it's how you implement it. And when you hit that roadblock, are you gonna say, damn, that's a roadblock? Or are you gonna kick that door down? And I kick doors down every day.
Okay. Okay, so it's no matter what, you're gonna meet these obstacles, but it's about your perspective about those obstacles, right? And it's a part of the journey.
Yep.
Right. So I think for many of the viewers that I have right now, they are at their desk. And they do everything from the best cooks to the best hairstylists. And they're doing this stuff in their kitchen. They have huge homes in their native countries, whether Jamaica, Haiti, different places on the coast, that they just go back home, stay a little while. Like, they don't think about turning these things into businesses. And while they'd like to, they kind of in the mindset of getting this comfortable paycheck. And I'm not saying that everybody should be an entrepreneur, right? Because there are people that love what they do in a supportive role to either a business or a larger scale company. But for those that are leaving money on the table, what do you say to those people that are just, the only thing between them and that step is fear?
Yep. What I tell to them is start. Start. You gotta start. And, a lot of times, and I teach this incubator class at the Gentleman's Factory where, I always ask, do you need a 100-page business plan? And then people are like, yeah, of course, because how you gonna know what you gotta do? I'm like, you don't. I'm like, yo, till this day.
You still don't.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe I shouldn't have said that on camera, right? No, that's totally fine, right? I don't have no 100-page business plan. Like, like I got my stuff with napkins and no, right?
But it's how people dream, right?
You start, you implement, you look to see what worked right, what worked wrong. You got to start to see what the market needs and what the market doesn't need. Because if you're spending all of your time on theory and no implementation, the market tells you what they need, right? So what I say to the people who have these ideas or who have these problems, like, first you got to ask, what problem are you solving? Yeah. Because once you understand the problem that you're solving, then you got to understand who are you solving it for and what solution you have in place. I think a lot of times with folks in business, a lot of people in our community, they come and say, oh, you know what, I need you to support me. I need you to support me. Now, I have an issue with the word support only because, yes, I can support, but I'll support once, right? Which is fine. But one support from someone is not sustainable. What you need is to bring forth value. Yes. Because once you bring forth value, it's no longer support. I need what you are selling. Right. So now it's no longer a sale, it's a value exchange. Yes. Because you're solving a problem that I need to be solved in my life. So once we understand those concepts, then it's no longer support, it's it is a transaction because money is just money is an exchange of value. Right. So once we lead, so for those who are thinking about, I hate my job, you can't go into entrepreneurship with the energy of I hate your job, right? Because that's not sustainable either. Because you're gonna hate entrepreneurship. You know what I'm saying? It's not nice. It's not friendly. You gotta ask people for money. You have to have tough skin. You have to be open to someone saying, get the hell out of my face, and then you happen to just be like, oh, okay, cool, no doubt, and then move on.
Right.
It's like an emotional roller coaster ride, right? So it's all of those things that you gotta keep in mind.
So I think the rejection part is important because I think people aren't always ready for that. And there are many people, that have to learn a little bit more about sales, right? Because sales is always a part of the entrepreneurship process, but it's not traditional in the way that people think about it, like coercing somebody to get something that you think that they need. It's more about delivering more value and making it impossible for someone to say no for something that they already desire, right? So I'm not coercing you to get something, but it's something that you actually need. And I think that speaks back to answering people's pain points, knowing who they are, knowing where they are, and really designing a real solid customer avatar. But I think that the rejection is something that's a little bit jarring for people.
You gotta get rejected. I get rejected every day, right? And I'm comfortable with it, right? I'm comfortable with the word no. If someone tells me no, I'm like, all right, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And then I'll find someone else, right? But you gotta be comfortable with that. You gotta be comfortable with that. Because with the word no, you gotta evaluate, okay, why are they saying no? Okay, am I speaking to the right person? Is that the right market? Did I pitch what I said clearly and concisely? Is that person just a mean, horrible person? You see what I'm saying? Like all of those things, you gotta do an evaluation also. And then if everybody's telling you no, then it's a problem. You gotta enjoy yourself. You know what I'm saying? So those are all things that you got to evaluate in the entrepreneurial journey. And that's why having everything on paper with no implementation, you'll just have everything on paper and frame it, right?
Right, and never do anything.
Yeah.
All right, so tell me a little bit about how important relationships are to your entrepreneurship journey. Like
relationships are everything. Like, in my culture, Haitian Caribbean culture, generally speaking, it's like you have to not tell anybody what you're doing. You move in silence so that people don't, because of the haters and all that stuff or whatever. And then you don't want to tell this person. That is the worst piece of theology that I've gotten as a child. Because you need everyone to know what you're doing, right? Because going back to relationships, the answer to my problem is through someone else. Humans, right? You need humans.
Yes.
So if no human knows what you're doing, then there's no movement, there's no business that started just by one individual. That individual needed another human being to help push his or her agenda, right? So in that, relationships are everything. Relationships is where opportunities come from. Relationships are where doors open. Relationships are where capital comes in. Relationships is where, people can introduce you to things, right? Like you need relationships. And if someone is afraid to tell their circle or tell their friends what they're doing, you got to ask yourself the question, do you got the right circle and do you got the right friends, right? Because it's through relationships where your agenda is pushed.
That's good. That's spicy right there.
Of course.
So for someone who's kind of starting from scratch and doesn't have those relationships, where do you think they should start?
Well, one in the gentleman's factory, right? You know what I'm saying?
All right. Plug for the gentleman's factory, everyone.
Yes. And then also it's through going out there and getting uncomfortable. A lot of times we don't want to go to relationships because we don't want people to reject us, And also too, we don't have an ask. What is the ask? And the ask doesn't even have to be something astronomical. The ask could just be like, yo, I need a mentor, or yo, I need, the ask could be, yo, I need $3 million, or the ask is, yo, can you help me get a DOE vendor's number? Right? You know what I'm saying?
Something simple.
Yeah, but you always have to have an ask. Because a lot of times people come to me
Mm-hmm.
and they're asking for things. I mean, well, they're telling me about things, and I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. But what's the call to action?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. So you just told me to tell me, and I'm like, okay, what do I do with this information,
Right,
right?
right,
You know.
right, right.
But people always need to realize that people need to be told what to do,
Mm.
right?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, people
Mm-hmm.
need to be told what to do.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to be told what to do,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, you'll then discern whether you do it or not.
Right.
But everybody needs to be told what to do. That's
Mm-hmm.
how people move, right? Through order and instruction, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then, if you are networking or don't even know how to network, or if you're just like, and I see this all the time, people are just happy to be in rooms
Mm-hmm.
so that they can put it on Instagram, right? No, like that's
It's the social aspect of
yeah. I was just in a powerful room this morning, and I'm not gonna say where, and it ain't on Instagram.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Certain things. Oh my God. Right. So now, and I had to ask for in that room. I had a big ask,
Yeah.
with a number of commas in it, right?
Uh-huh.
But in that though, I think that when it comes to networking, it's important to understand who is it that you're trying to meet and what is your ask at whatever level that you're in.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's good. I think there's also a leadership aspect
Mhm.
to being a CEO. And my question to you is, how did you learn how to be a CEO?
Well, I'm constantly learning, right? And I think that, there's always a journey and it's a process. And, it's a new level, new devil, right? So now, Gentleman's Factory, we have a number of really big partnerships, big, massive partnerships, which, now we had to, increase our staffing
Yeah.
times, oh my God, a gazillion, right? Like we have a number of now, like we have a lot of full-time employees now,
Yeah.
right? Which is great. Now it's like, all right, how do you manage personalities, right? How do you also make sure that you're inspiring the team, right? Because you can hire really great people, but hiring great people, the problem with that, right? And it's a good problem, is that great people, great talent have great options. So if you're not inspiring a talented group of people, then they'll say, oh, I know my value, I'll just leave and go somewhere else.
That's right.
Right? So in that, as leader of Gentleman's Factory and as a business leader, and as a CEO, you have to constantly make sure that you're motivating your team so that they can be the best version of themselves, right? And I'm learning that every single day because the way that I may speak to this person may not be the same way that I speak to this person. Everything is fair, but everyone gets inspired differently. And we have a very diverse team. We have
Oh, that's good.
yeah, of course. I mean, no shade to the men, but women are absolutely amazing, and
Thank you.
and you are smarter than us, and you're more talented than us, and all that, right? In every aspect, right? So in that, we have a really great team of women.
That's great.
And that's really
That's great.
pushing the agenda forward.
It's good to hear that you're opening this incubator now, where women who are so tell the women who are in business how to get connected to this incubator and how it could be a service to the businesses that they're starting or currently running.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, check us out on Instagram. So it's at Gentleman's Factory. Follow our Instagram page too, right?
Yes.
You know what I mean? And then on our website has all of the information, gentleman'sfactory.com, and it's a really powerful program, right? Because we're helping, businesses, entrepreneurs, how to understand business while connecting them with our network of, resources, right?
Okay.
Because you need two things, right? Like I keep saying two
Two
things.
things.
Yeah, no.
That's
Well,
just
so
simple.
watch this. I didn't say you only need two things,
right.
You know what I'm saying, right? Okay. But you need a number of things, which include, having a network, but having the resources for you to get there, right? So in this incubator, we look to do both. Like we want to give you the information, but then we also want to plug you into the resources so that you can, operate at your best ability.
Okay. I think just we're kind of coming to the close. I kind of want to know how you keep balance as an entrepreneur, because I mean, I don't see a personal assistant kind of running around behind you. I mean, eventually, I've always told you that eventually you're going to get to a point where you like need a driver and that kind of stuff, because it's just going to keep growing and getting out saying, you know, God is doing great things.
No, thank you.
But how do you keep that balance? Like,
yeah, that's a really good question that I don't have the answer to, right? You know what I mean? I'm still figuring it out. But whoever has that answer, please like DM me, tweet me. But I think it's important to have a balance. And like balance is the key to life, right? Like anything, to the extreme becomes error, right? Like water is great, too much water you drown, right? Or too much water is a flood, right? So I think that I'm trying to find balance. One thing that I do is I have like this like secret space that I go to where it's like in the woods.
Nice.
And I just like go there and I leave my cell phone in the car and I just walk. And then, believe it or not,
you leave yourself.
I leave my cell phone in the car.
That's awesome.
And I just walk. And believe it or not, like this woods is actually in Brooklyn, right? You know?
Really?
Yeah. I
in Brooklyn?
And here's the thing, I ain't telling nobody where it's at.
So he's not sharing that information, guys.
Because this is where I go and I don't see humans and I don't want to,
you don't want to pass anybody on a trail.
I don't want to pass nobody. This is my space, right? And that's, so that's an outlet that I go to and just think and just like, chill and just breathe.
Okay, so this is my last question. Tell us what inspires you. Like, how do you, because I mean, you have just gone from, teaching. I think in the beginning you were like teaching children how to tie ties, and I think you still do some of that, but it exploded to all of this. So like, where's all of this inspiration and creativity? Because that's a side of you that.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just like data and and like actual data and like human data, right? Like conversations. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, nice.
Like people operate in life based off of the level of information they've obtained, right? So the more you know, the better you can operate in. And then we started off, tying ties, and then that was 5 years ago, and I'm like, I don't even wear a tie right now, right? You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Tie,
right.
I mean, so in that though, what inspires me is progress.
Oh.
Progress. And that's why, like, I would say that we've been very successful at what we do is because we measure what we do, right? And we have some real ambitious goals. We have a 2030 goal. Like we have a year 2030 goal that I'll be revealing to the world soon.
That's great.
And it's very ambitious, very ambitious. Like when I share it with the world, folks are gonna be like, oh, ooh, ooh, ooh. And this goal is probably gonna cost about $200 million to accomplish, but that's nothing, right? You know what I'm saying?
Easy breezy.
Yes.
All right, so tell our guests how to find you again. Let us know all your social media, where to find you, and how to get connected.
Well, first off, I just want to say thank you, Dr.
Anytime.
Beckford. Work matters. Like I'm super honored and it's a privilege being here. So thank you so much for having me. And everyone can find me at my personal Instagram is Mr. Community. So that's MR Community NYC. And you can find me, follow the Gentleman's Factory on Instagram, on Twitter, and all of the social media outlets. And you can reach out to me directly on LinkedIn. And it's Jeff Lindor, last name Lindor. And, catch me at the Gentleman's Factory as well. We're opening up some new locations soon, and I'll tell you which cities and which communities that we'll be in. And we're just getting started. So our motto is build locally, connect globally. So let's continue to change the world, everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.